Welcome back to the Cricket Corner podcast as we preview the second test match between India and Australia, coming to you live from New Delhi, the capital of the country. India coming as favourites possibly if are following their convincing win at Nagpur. India won the first test match by an innings and 132 runs, and they spin their way to victory. The test match was over even before stumps at day 3. Australia bundling down to just 91 in the second innings after India posted a mammoth 400 in their first innings. Ashwin and Jadeja picking up 8 wickets between them as Australia struggled to counter the spin and were just knocked out in one session between lunch and tea. So let's talk about the Australian camp first and their preparations ahead of the second test match, which is due to start on the 17th of February at New Delhi's Arun Jaitley Stadium, or as it was called, the Firozshah Kotla Stadium before the name change. So what's the news from the Australian camp? It looks likely that Mitchell Starc is going to play. He had a finger injury which kept him out of the first test match at Nagpur. He has been flown into the country, and I think he should be fit enough to start. And if he does make it into the starting 11, I feel like he's probably replacing Scott Boland, because I don't see them. Obviously, for obvious reasons, he's not good. The captain, Pat Cummins, is not going to drop himself, so that just leaves Scott Boland's position to being vacant and being replaced by Mitchell Starc. I have an article from the Times of India opened right in front of me, which says, quote, "Will do everything to be available for selection," says Mitchell Starc. And here are his quotes. He said that he'll do everything I can to be available for selection. Starc told reporters he planned to bowl as normal, but his finger was still lacking strength. So that's an interesting comment. So he's not 100% fit, but he feels like he's capable of providing something to this Australian bowling attack as they look to mount a comeback in this series. Should Australia gamble with Starc? Well, Starc does bring some seniority in the Australian lineup, that's for sure. He's taken more than 300 test wickets. He's currently Australia's leading wicket taker as far as fast bowling is concerned. I think Nathan Lyon is Australia's leading wicket taker in the squad at the moment. But Starc does bring maturity, he does bring experience on the table. So even if he's like 95% fit, I think Australia might gamble on him. But then the article does have another interesting snippet here, is that Starc, and I quote, Starc may be one of only 2 fast bowlers in the side if all-rounder Cameron Green, also recovering from a finger injury, is fit to play, allowing the tourists to deploy 3 spinners. Now that's an interesting quote there from the Times of India, of deploying 3 spinners. So that pretty much does that guarantee the inclusion of Travis Head? Is that who the third spinner is going to be, or they plan to play someone like Kuhneman, who's been added to the Australian squad in place of Mitchell Swepson, or does Travis Head be that 5th bowling option? Because everyone expected Travis Head to be part of the starting 11 in the Nagpur test, but it was unfortunately out of the side, and he was replaced by Matt Renshaw in the Australian middle order. But unfortunately, Matt Renshaw wasn't able to justify his selection, in my opinion. He was knocked out for a naught in the first innings of just a golden duck. He was out on the very first delivery, and in the second innings, I think he scored 2 runs. So I think if he's going to lose his place, then that's an interesting one. I think I think it's referring to Travis Head, because I don't think they'll drop a batsman to replace him with a full-time full-time spinner in the form of, let's say, Ashton Agar or even Kuhneman. So that's an interesting talk. But if Mitchell Starc does play, I think that can be one of the two changes, including the Travis Head one, which we just discussed a few moments back. So based on the news coming out from the Times of India regarding the Australian camp, I think the Aussies lineup would be as follows. I think Usman Khawaja and David Warner will keep their place in the starting 11, despite both of them not having the best of the test match in Nagpur. But let's say they are given another opportunity. So I think it will be Usman Khawaja, David Warner, Manas Labuschagne. He had a good outing with the bat. Steve Smith, probably Australia's best batsman. Then you go Travis Head. Then I think Peter Handscomb will keep his place in the team. I think he showed he's very much capable of playing in the Indian conditions. He made a good contribution in the first innings in the first test match. So I think Peter Handscomb keeps his place. Alex Carey is your wicket keeper. He's not going anywhere. Then you have Pat Cummins, Todd Murphy, Nathan Lyon, and Mitchell Starc. So that's the starting. If I had to predict the Australian 11, I think that's the way I'm going towards. But yeah, Australia need three spinners to challenge the Indian batting, because once again, Todd Murphy had to bowl so many overs on his debut that it's really hard for a debutant to be given a quota of 30-35 overs on his debut, and then you don't have someone to back him. Yes, you have Nathan Lyon, but you need that third option to keep things a little different and not trust your fast bowlers to get you wickets with the old ball. So the inclusion of Travis Head is a real is a no-brainer for me, and he should be replacing Matt Renshaw. So that's the Australian camp. So what are the news coming out of the Indian camp prior to the second test match in New Delhi? Firstly, let's start with some good news. Cheteshwar Pujara is due to play his 100th test match for India. Cheteshwar Pujara has been one of India's unsung heroes for the last decade or so. He has been an instrumental and an important player for India in the test match scenario. One of the most reliable players in India's top middle order. He has made that number 3 position his own ever since he made his debut back in 2010 or something. And he has been the modern incarnation of Rahul Dravid, one of the most, again, a reliable player. So how has Cheteshwar Pujara, how are his stats lining up as he looks to play his 100th test match? So his current record stands at 99 games, 7,021 runs, a highest score of 206 with an average of 44.15. He's had a strike rate of 44.44. He's had 34 50s and 19 hundreds. He has been excellent, and he'll probably deserve all the respect and all the praises he receives when he walks out of the Firozshah Kotla Stadium's dressing rooms for his 100th cap. So that's pretty. So that I think it's pretty. It is not. I feel like sorry for the. I just lost some words. I think it's pretty unlikely that he won't be playing. I'm sure Cheteshwar Pujara is going to play in the second test match, but yeah, didn't have the best of times in the first innings of the first test match. He tried to sweep Todd Murphy and he was caught at short fine leg, which is very unlike Cheteshwar Pujara, if you ask me. He doesn't usually go for go for those sweep shots. But once again, he tried, but he did fail, didn't he? What are the other changes? I don't think India need to change their bowling attack. I think the likes of Siraj, Mohammad Shami, Akshar Patel, Ravindra Jadeja, and Ravichandran Ashwin is a formidable bowling attack regardless of the conditions. Ashwin, Jadeja and Akshar Patel also contributing with the bat. And so did Mohammad Shami. That cameo of 37 runs really helped India to reach that magical figure of 400. So I don't think India have any reasons to change their bowling lineup, but there's expected to be one change in the middle order, and it's the reintroduction of Shreyas Iyer as coach Rahul Dravid. I have one of the articles again from CricBuzz this time open right in front of me, and it says, quote, Dravid confirms Shreyas Iyer's return if past fit. Should his fitness assessment prove he's capable of handling the load of a test match, Shreyas Iyer will return to the Indian 11 for the second test match against Australia in Delhi, confirmed head coach Rahul Dravid, who Rahul Dravid quoted as saying, I'm glad that he's back and he's fit. We'll take a call after a couple of days of training. He's had a long session today. He's done some training today. He'll assess him tomorrow as well once he comes in for a light hit and see how he feels in the evening. So this was an article written today. So it looks certain that he's going to play for India in the second test match. But the question now is, who is he going to replace? And I feel like there's no question whatsoever. I'm sure he's going to replace Surya Kumar Yadav, because I think Surya Kumar Yadav, there is no way he's ahead of Shreyas Iyer in the pecking order as far as test matches is concerned. Surya Kumar Yadav, excellent player of the white ball. Probably the best T20 player India has had since over the past couple of years. There's no doubt about his quality, but I think Shreyas Iyer has been excellent and should be in line to replace Sky in the middle order for the second test match. So that's the news from the Indian camp. So let's try and predict India's starting 11 for the game against Australia. It should be Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Cheteshwar Pujara, Virat Kohli. Then you have Shreyas Iyer. And then you have the wicketkeeper Shrikar Bharat, Ravichandran Ashwin, Mohammad Shami, Ravi Jadeja, Akshar Patel and Mohammad Siraj. There have been question marks over the inclusion of KL Rahul, because he hasn't had the best of times in test matches, but I feel like he did have a struggling innings in the first test match. He did score 20, but I think those 20 runs might be enough for him to keep his place as the opener alongside Captain Rohit Sharma. But I feel the second test match might be one of his last opportunities to prove his worth in the team, because the way Shrikar Bharat kept wickets in the first test match, I don't feel there's any need to include KL Rahul as a wicketkeeper anymore. As a wicketkeeper, you can just have him as the batsman. But if he's not contributing with the bat, you have someone like Shubman Gill waiting in the wings, and to keep out Shubman Gill, you have to do something special, and I don't think KL Rahul is doing that anymore. So this could be one of the final opportunities he gets to prove his worth into the test side. Once again, KL Rahul, I love him. He's once again, similar to Sky, he's one of the best white ball players India could have, but keeping hold of that test cap might be tricky with Shubman Gill just sitting there on the sidelines. So that's the short preview of the second test match between India and Australia. Once again, just to remind the listeners, the test match begins on the 17th of February, and It's at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in New Delhi. We'll be back for the each day's review at the end of the day's play. So stay tuned to listen to one of the quickest reviews out there, because I basically record this short podcast right as the final ball is bowled, and so you basically get the quickest updates and the quickest review of the game. There'll be like a 14 to 15 minute podcast as usual to cover the entire day's play in a short and crispy format. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.